On the 4th of August, the High Court delivered its judgment in the Rossato matter. Unfortunately, despite our best efforts, the decision in the Rossato matter was a unanimous decision in favour of the labour hire company Workpac. What that decision means is that the High Court has effectively endorsed and repeated the federal government's enactment to fair work laws to make it legal to employ casuals on a permanent basis. That is to describe a worker who is really a permanent employee as a casual in a written contract of employment, and for that written contract of employment to have continuing legal effect regardless of the reality of the employment relationship. Now, we're extremely disappointed by the decision in Rossato. It's an extremely conservative decision. It's a big backstep in the rights of workers, not just in the mining industry, but potentially throughout the economy. And we really regret the implications of that decision for workers' rights. But really, at the end of the day, the Rossato decision is not what did the real damage to our case and our class action. It was effectively the government's legislation moved in March with the support of the One Nation Party, which effectively attacked and undid the legal gains we've made in the courts over the last 10 to 15 years on the issue of casual employment in the mining industry. So, as I previously reported, that legislation was a direct and fundamental attack on your rights as a worker and undid many years of important legal precedent that the union movement as a whole had managed to achieve. Now, the real sting in the tail for members of this class action, the Renyard versus Workpac, or the CFMU funded class action, is that the government's legislation was retrospective, or was introduced with retrospective effect, which means that it applies to this class action, even though it was commenced before the legislation came into effect. So, following the decision in the Rossato High Court matter, I have sought, as directed by the Executive of the Union, a legal advice, high-powered legal advice from senior counsel as to our prospects of success, or our prospects really of being able to run at all our class action. And unfortunately, it's to be expected because the law has changed, the goalposts have been moved, but the view of senior counsel is that we have no reasonable prospects of success with the class action. That is, that we are almost certain to lose or to have the class action thrown out by the court before any substantive hearing. So that's led to the central executive of the union today deciding to discontinue the class action, in which you're a part of. That decision was not taken lightly. It was taken after much debate and consideration of the legal advice of senior counsel. But the executive has a responsibility to the union as a whole and to use members' money correctly, and accordingly, given the advice that the executive received, it had no choice really but to direct me to take steps to discontinue the class action. We have a federal government which is actively working against the interests of working class people in this country, retrospectively denying them legal rights that they legitimately have. To me, that's an extremely disappointing situation. In fact, it makes me quite angry. And when we look at the coming months, we can see that the issue of insecure employment and this issue of the permanent casual is not going to go away. And you can take this comfort from all of this process, and I know I do, which is that we have raised the issue of the misuse of casual employment and insecure employment in the mining industry more generally to a national political issue. It's now a central point of difference between the opposition and the current LNP government. And I know that it will become an issue from the point of view of the union and the union movement as a whole in the next federal election. There is a perfect opportunity now to exercise your democratic rights, your political rights, to ensure that we have a government this time next year who's prepared to take steps to redress this outrageous misuse of workplace laws in this country. That's the only solution at the moment. The court system has been closed off to us. The highest court in the land has now ruled in favour, effectively, of big business and the government. The next federal election is your opportunity to have a different result, and it's the only opportunity. Can I conclude by expressing my thanks and the union's thanks to you for being prepared to fight for your rights, your legal rights, to be represented in this matter, and cooperating with the union in obtaining necessary information to run this case. We couldn't do it without you, and we really sincerely appreciate your contribution to this matter. Also, I want to specifically name Ben Renyard and thank him. Ben's a coal miner from the Hunter Valley. Ben was prepared to put his hand up to be the lead applicant in this class action matter, and we are really grateful for Ben's brave decision to do so, because he knew he wasn't doing it for his own personal interest. He was doing it because he's been a victim of this system and wants to see it put right. So Ben, on behalf of the union, we appreciate your efforts, and we want to thank you for that, for the decision to put your hand up in this matter. Finally, can I just say that in relation to the discontinuance of the class action, we'll be taking those steps imminently. As from the outset, there will be no cost to you and no risk to you as a member of the class action in terms of our discontinuance. But I ask you that or invite you, if you've got any questions regarding this process or any concerns, please reach out to us, preferably by email, so that we've got a record of the conversation. But given we've been in regular email contact, how to contact us, so please do so if you have any other questions. But finally, again, just thank you so much for being involved in this process. It is disappointing, but we, from the union's point of view, are certainly not going away. And as I've said earlier, this is now a national political issue, and the solution to this matter will ultimately be at the ballot box at some stage next year. Thank you.